Welcome everyone to Diane's Patisserie. I'm Diane Nussbaum, Executive Pastry Chef of Diane's Patisserie. And today I'm showing you our very amazing, fabulous, delicious sugar dough. We use this for so many things, and I've done a variety of different things that we're going to work with today. We've made it into sugar cookies, we've made it into decorated cookies, we've made it into plaques to put on a birthday cake, we've made it into tart shells, and one of the most fun things, which I don't know how many of you know what this is, but these little triangular pastries are actually used for a Jewish holiday by the name of Purim. It's the story of Queen Esther, and these little fruit pies are supposed to represent the bad guy, Haman. This is what his hat looks like. But they're so delicious that we don't care if he was bad, good, or otherwise. People love these, and we make them specifically for Purim, but some places make them all year round, and you can put any flavor of fruit filling inside. So we do cherry, blueberry, apple, apricot, prune. Poppy seed is one of the very traditional Jewish ones. Not too many people in today's world like it, but it used to be very popular. Chocolate. So we've done cherry and chocolate, and we're going to do some blueberry ones today. So I'm going to start with them. And this is a basic sugar dough that many pastry schools will call like a 3-2-1 dough. It's like 3 parts flour, 2 parts sugar, 1 part shortening. Very, very basic. So when you can make it in large batches, put it in your freezer even, and take it out in pieces. I've done it for my grandkids. So when you get it, you want to like bring it back to its natural consistency. So just working it a little bit with your hands. And we've used different cookie cutters to make all these different shapes that we've used today, but this is the one that we're going to use to make our triangular pastry. So I'm just going to gently roll it out, and I'm using my Silpack. But again, if you don't have something like this, you can do it on a regular Formica counter, marble countertop, doesn't matter. And if you need to, you can use a little bit of flour if the kitchen is warm, or you don't have a non-stick surface to roll your dough out on, just put a little bit of flour. So we don't want it to be too thin and at the same time not too thick. For these little pie dough triangular pieces, we're using a round cookie cutter. We're going to use 2 of them. And you can re-roll this dough by adding new dough to it every time. So I'm just going to put the extra over there. So for this particular time, we're going to use blueberry. And we mixed our blueberry pie filling with a little bit of pastry cream, but you can use it straight if you like. I just find it's a little sweet for me, so we mixed it with a little pastry cream, and we're putting a little center on. And then a little tiny bit of water around the edge of each one. And let's move some of these things out of the way so you can see. So this is the little tricky part. You have to make it into a triangle. So you have to press the edges together very, very well. And you get this little pie-shaped confection, which I know if you make these, your family's going to love these. Even if you don't celebrate Purim, you're still going to love these. So the dough is a little bit thick, but the sugar dough itself is really delicious. So nothing wrong with making these a little bit thicker, but this is such a great sugar dough. I also recommend that you refrigerate these for a little bit before you try and bake them, because the dough will stand up better if that's what you do. If you bake them right away, if you're in a hurry, they may, puff out at the sides a little bit. No problem. You can still eat them. So I'm going to put these on the cookie tray. For today's demonstration, we're not going to refrigerate them. We're just going to bake everything at the same time. So then let's roll out some other shapes of cookies that you can do, and then I'm going to show you how to decorate them. So again, I'm going to add a little bit more of our sugar dough and kind of mold it together, so you're always adding some fresh to the one that you've already rolled out. And if you need to use some flour, you can use an all-purpose flour, and you only use the smallest amount. So you really throw it, make a dust on your surface so that you're not using very much flour at all. You don't want to change the consistency of your dough. And you want to be able to pick it up off of your tray or your countertop just to make sure it's not sticking before you cut out. And since our kitchen is a little bit warm, I'm going to put a little bit of flour on there. So we can do a butterfly, which is always fun as spring is arriving, never too soon. We can do, this shape is nice to make a plaque if you want to decorate something for somebody's birthday and stand it up so they have a delicious cookie to eat, as well as something decorative to put on your cake. And again, taking the extra dough away. So now that we've shown you how to roll out the dough, I would like to spend the rest of the time actually showing you how to decorate these cookies. So we've made something called royal icing. And royal icing is nothing more than egg whites and confectionery sugar beaten together. So for every 3 ounces of egg whites, you want to mix it with 1 pound of confectionery sugar. And you just mix it in your mixer until it's nice and light and fluffy, and I'll show you what the consistency should look like. So we already baked a tart shell and we lined it with some chocolate, which keeps the tart shell both from getting soggy and to make it a little more delicious. So that's a little trick that we've done over the years. If you're doing a fruit tart with fresh fruit, it's nice to line it with some melted chocolate first. So that's one of the things that we do with our wonderful sugar dough. Then, as you can see, we've outlined these cookies with the royal icing. And one of the things that you have to remember when you're working with royal icing is after you make it to put it in a container with a damp cloth, because it will get very dry and lots of flakes. And as I started filling up my bag, I had flakes all over my table. So we don't want that. So I am going to show you with this one cookie. You want to make the royal icing really tight to begin with to do your outlines, and then thinner to fill it in. So we're going to pipe this. And this takes some practice, but the more you practice, the better you get at it. So now we have a really nice outline for the decoration that's going to follow on this particular cookie. Since these have already been outlined, we're going to continue to fill these. So the outline is one part of the royal icing, but what we're going to do now is called the flow of the royal icing. So it's much softer, more liquid. So let's see what other colors we have here to see if we can do the flow. So we have some yellow. It's a very pale yellow that might be nice for a holiday decoration or a baby shower or a bridal shower, anything. And I really like to use these little paper bags, because when you're done with them, you throw them away, but making one can be complicated. So you want to have a triangle. You want the point to be down. You're going to put your hand inside. So now the other point is meeting your point down there, and you roll it around your hand. And then you slide all of the pieces together. I have to do it this way until you get one point at the end. Put the tails inside, and now you have a nice little bag. So we're going to fill this bag with this much thinner royal icing. And when you're piping this onto your cookie, and this is great if you're doing holiday cookies for any holiday, or a baby shower, a bridal shower, whatever event you might be working on. Use whatever colors you like, but make everything in advance. You can see I have all these little trays of of colors here. So I cut off the end, and I'm going to start piping on the inside. And I just go around in little circles to make it very nice and puffy. So let's say I want to do more than one color. So I've done the yellow, and you just keep circling around to keep it nice and tall, because that's how it's going to dry. And this dries pretty fast. So I've used up everything in this bag, and now I'm going to take my pink bag, which I filled previously, and I'm going to continue piping inside the yellow. Now this pink is a little stronger, so it's going to stay a little easier, but I'm going to swipe into the yellow part to make it look even prettier. So while the royal icing is very loose, you can do a lot of designs with it in that way. And then I'm just going to continue filling in the middle, going around in circles as I have been. And sometimes what will happen is the tip will get dried out. I'm feeling that right now. So I like to keep like a little toothpick around to maybe help me open up the royal icing if it gets stuck. And also to help make the design. So I have my toothpick. I can use this to swirl more into the royal icing, give it a really cool design, and even get some of the yellow back in here. And you kind of tap it to let it settle, and we're going to let it dry. So it looks really cool, and then you could do an inscription on that. Now let's say you were doing a bridal shower and you wanted to do a cookie that's in the shape of a bridal cake. So again, you're going to fill up your bag, and this has the ivory icing, and we have had the pink covered, and we've kept this. We're going to hope that this isn't dried out, but we'll see. So we're going to make some lines as if you were doing tiers on a wedding cake. And one of the things that we've done here is you don't need to fill in the total cake or the total cookie with the royal icing. You can do dots or stripes or whatever you like. You don't really have to do the whole thing. So I'm just going to do some decorative lines on each tier. Then they get to see what the cookie looks like as well. And then of course we have some of our fun glitters that we can put right on it. So if you want to use any glitter, you have to do it right away, because otherwise it won't stick. So you can see how much fun that is. Now let's go back to our cookie that is the flower. So let's decide what we want to do with this decoration. And we also have like a bridal dress or a bridesmaid's dress. So let's work on those. Let's see what colors we have to use for those. So I think we have a fuchsia, which would be very lovely. And we'll just give this a nice stir. So when the royal icing has been sitting for a while, sometimes it gets very thick. And this is pretty thick, which is the consistency that you would use if you were outlining a cookie. So we can do some lines with this first and then make it thinner so we can do the flow that I was talking about. So let's make another bag. So again, I'm wrapping it around my fingers, sliding all the pieces together to get to this point at the bottom, and tucking the tails inside. I do have to warn you though, when I first learned how to do this, it took me like 6 hours to learn because I just couldn't visualize where the different parts were turning or going or whatever. So don't get frustrated, but try it because it really is a time saver. So we'll put a little bit more in here. And let's say your bridesmaids are wearing this color at the wedding. and you want to do some cookies for a party that you're having with them. So you need to have a damp towel near you also with this because your hands will get sticky. Cutting off the tip. So let's decorate our dress. We can do some dots at the top, a couple ruffles, and then maybe some other lines. And then I think the bottom, we'll make it a little bit thinner so you can see how you would fill in the whole bottom. Put a little bit more water in there. So you can see, just by adding water, it starts to get much thinner. And the good thing about this is, if you add too much water, just add some more confectionery sugar and get it back to the consistency that you want. You won't ruin it. It won't be, a problem at all. So see how runny it is? This is good. So we're going to make one more bag. And now it can just be poured right into our bag. And this time we can cut the hole a little bit bigger because we want it to flow a little bit more easily as it's dripping on my table. So now we're just doing those same circular motions again. Fill that in. And it looks like this edge over here is kind of leaking out a little bit. It seems like we lost a little edge, so we just go over that edge one more time to hold that in place. And even though we outlined it in the white to begin, we can outline it in the fuchsia to finish it off. There we are. So even if it leaks out a little bit on the edge, let it dry a little bit and then you can go back and fix it. You can fill this in, make another deeper line here, maybe make it a little deeper V here. And then if you want to put some glitter on this one as well, just a little, for the skirt part. We'll just do this one last cookie. So we'll do some lines in the pink. So what's happened is, because the royal icing was sitting in the bag, in the tip, it's gotten hard. And that's why I like to keep this toothpick around, so that now I can just poke through and open it up. And once I do that, and maybe even add some water to my toothpick to open this up, it will keep you from having to start a whole new bag or throw away your royal icing. Don't get frustrated, just clean it up. And you can see it makes a lot of crumbs as it dries all over your table. So be prepared. It's kind of messy, but it's kind of fun. So let's see if it'll work now. So now, here it is. It's fine. It's coming out. So that's what you have to know about royal icing, that if you keep it uncovered or in a small space, it will get hard, and then you're going to have to clean out that hard part in order to continue. And we'll go back and do some of this yellow as well. So now I'm pushing on this. When you use a paper bag and it gets a little hard, you can just push on that end to open it up. So now we can go back in here and do another color with the yellow. And that's why it's fun to have colors ready to go. And we could even do a little yellow in here too. And again, if you want to, you can take your toothpick and pull the lines in here as well to make it a little bit more interesting. So you have all different ways that you can use the royal icing to decorate your cookies, to decorate your pastries, to write on a cake, to write on your plaque. And this sugar dough is so diverse and wonderful that you will really enjoy using it for any of the sugar dough cookies that you want to make, any tart shells that you might want to bake. It's very, very versatile, and even if you roll it out, you don't like it, roll it back up again, take a new piece of dough, roll it again. You can use it for the base of a lemon bar, any kind of tart that you might want to be making, and a large tart shell. So I hope you enjoyed our demonstration with my wonderful sugar dough today, and it just goes to show you how many different things you can use with this sugar dough recipe. It's so great, it freezes, it rolls out easily, you can reuse it over and over again. My grandkids have loved doing sugar cookies with these and decorating them, and royal icing is very easy to make. If you make it in advance and store it in your refrigerator, you can take it out and reconstitute it with a little water or a little egg white again. So please call me if you need me about any questions, 609-560-4111, dianespatisserie.com if you want to put in any questions on my website. And I've enjoyed sharing this day with you, so please visit me again soon. I'm Diane Nussbaum. Have a great day.